I remember thinking the shop looked different at night. During the day, the big glass door and wide windows made the place feel open, almost welcoming. Light spilled in, and people from the street outside drifted in and out like it was the safest place in town. But at night, it was something else. The glass reflected everything back at me, my own shadowy outline against the dimly lit shop. The windows were black mirrors, and behind them was only emptiness. The boss, Victor, stood with me just before closing. He was a tall man, bald and broad, but with a soft gut that strained against his shirt. His eyes were what got me, though. They were pale, almost cloudy, and too wide when he looked at you, like he could see through you. He wasn't a friendly guy, not exactly, but he had this way of acting like he trusted me more than anyone else who worked here. That wasn't comforting. It was unnerving. "Don't worry," he said in his deep, wheezing voice. "Nothing happens down here at night. You take orders, you make coffee, you sit in the office if you want. Easy." His hand lingered on my shoulder a little too long. I forced a nod. When he finally left, locking the side door behind him, it was just me and Mia, the girl finishing up her shift. She was small, with short hair dyed pink, and she had that tired barista look of someone who dealt with too many rude customers in one day. "You sure you want to do this?" she asked, half smiling as she wiped down the counter. "Night shift here is weird." I chuckled. "Weird how?" "You'll see." She didn't elaborate. She left at 11. By midnight, it was only me. The air felt heavier than it did during the day. I tried not to think about the stories I'd overheard. The chairs moving on their own. The front door being unlocked in the mornings. Voices whispering outside when no one was there. I told myself it was just nerves. Just me being new. That was when it happened. A bang. So hard the glass door rattled. I nearly dropped the cup I was cleaning and rushed to the front. A woman stood there, illuminated by the dim glow of the streetlights. She looked young, maybe mid-20s, but her clothes were filthy, her hair tangled. Dirt streaked her face. Her eyes, they didn't look right. Too wide, too wild. She slammed her palms against the glass again. "Are you open?" she shouted. My chest tightened. I shook my head. "No, sorry, closed." Her head twitched, almost like a glitch. Then her voice dropped an octave, strange and distorted. "Is Sam here?" "Sam?" I frowned. "No, there's no Sam here." Her lips pulled into a cracked, bleeding smile. "Let me in." The way she said it didn't sound human. "No," I said firmly. "Go home, lady, or I'm calling the cops." She took 2 steps back. For a second, I thought she was leaving. Then she ran full speed at the door, smashing her forehead against the glass. Bang! I stumbled back in shock. She did it again, harder, smearing blood across the surface. "Fuck!" I shouted. "Get the hell out of here!" My hands fumbled for my phone. I started dialing 911, but the woman froze. Her head tilted too far, her neck creaking. And then she laughed. It wasn't the laugh of a drunk or a crazy person. It was deep, guttural, like something was inside her chest trying to crawl out. "Good luck," she hissed. And then, just like that, she walked away. I stood there shaking, phone in hand, my heart pounding. Minutes passed. She was gone. The street was empty. I told myself I imagined it. A stress dream. Something. I needed to wash my face, calm down. I went to the bathroom in the back, flipped on the light, and splashed cold water over my cheeks. That's when I heard it. A voice. At first, it was faint, like a little girl crying or screaming. I froze, leaning closer to the sink. The sound was coming from the drain. Confused, I bent down, putting my ear near the pipes. The scream ripped through me. So loud, so piercing, it felt like it drilled straight into my skull. I reeled back, clutching my head, gasping for air. The mirror rattled against the wall. And then, blood. Thick red streaks began dripping down the mirror, seeping from nowhere. Behind me, reflected in the glass, stood 2 shadowy figures. coal black, their hands stretching toward me. I spun around. Nothing there. "Fuck this," I muttered. I bolted out of the bathroom, down the hall, straight for the sliding door that led to the basement. My plan was simple. Grab the spare shop keys Victor kept in the office and get the hell out. But halfway down the staircase, my foot caught on a step. I fell hard, slamming shoulder first onto the concrete landing below. My vision went white for a second. When it cleared, I was staring into the dim, flickering light of the basement hallway. And something was breathing down there. The fall knocked the wind out of me. I lay on the cold concrete landing, sucking air back into my lungs, listening. That's when I heard it. Breathing. Not my own. This was heavier, slower, coming from the hallway below. I pushed myself up, my palms stinging from the scrape, and forced my eyes to focus. The basement stretched ahead, dim yellow light bulbs buzzing in their sockets, shadows clinging to every corner. I remembered Victor's tour of the place, the office to the left, the disgusting old bathroom across from it, and the hallway straight ahead leading to the kitchen. The air down here was different, musty, damp. It smelled faintly of mold, grease, and something else I couldn't name. I whispered to myself, "Just grab the key, get out, call the cops." My legs still shook as I made my way toward the office. The door was half open. The weak light bulb in the corner cast just enough glow to reveal stacks of boxes, bags of coffee beans, dusty espresso machine parts leaning against the wall. And in the middle of it, a worn-out sofa with a TV perched on a metal cart. I didn't like this room. Something about it felt wrong, like it wasn't just a storage space. I stepped inside, forcing myself to look around for the spare keys. Victor had shown me once. He said they were in the desk drawer. I hadn't even thought about it until now. The desk sat in the corner, covered in receipts, paperwork, and old takeout containers. I pulled open the drawer. Empty. Shit. Something creaked behind me. I spun around. The sofa cushion was indented, as if someone had just been sitting there. I froze, staring. My throat tightened. The TV flickered on by itself. No static, no menu, just blackness. And in the blackness, a reflection of the office. Except I wasn't in it. The sofa wasn't empty in the reflection. Someone was sitting there. A figure hunched over, its face hidden in its hands. I stumbled back so fast I nearly tripped over a box. The bulb in the corner buzzed louder, then went out, plunging the office into darkness. I didn't wait. I bolted back into the hallway, slamming the office door behind me. The bathroom door across the hall stood slightly open. The stench of rot leaked out, and from inside, a sound, dripping, followed by a voice, software wet, gurgling. "Let me in." I backed away, heart racing. My hand brushed against one of the fridges lined along the hallway. The metal was cold as ice, humming faintly. I told myself not to open it. Don't look. Don't. The fridge door clicked open by itself. Inside wasn't food. Not anymore. The shelves were stacked with raw meat, bloody, unwrapped, rotting. And in the middle of it, something moved. A hand. Small. Gray. With nails too long. It twitched, then curled around the shelf. I slammed the fridge shut, gagging, and stumbled backward. The hallway stretched longer than I remembered. Much longer. The kitchen light glowed faintly at the end, but it looked impossibly far away, like the hallway had grown. And the breathing. It was louder now, behind me. I turned slowly. Someone was standing at the top of the basement stairs. Tall, thin, their face hidden in shadow. They weren't moving, just watching. My blood turned to ice. "Who's there?" I shouted, my voice cracking. No answer. I didn't think. I just ran. Down the hallway, toward the kitchen, my shoes slapping against the grimy concrete. The shelves rattled as I passed. Bottles toppled, jars shattered on the floor. I didn't stop. I reached the kitchen doorway and burst inside. The sudden brightness of the fluorescent lights burned my eyes. The kitchen was too white, too clean, compared to the rest of the basement. The twin grills gleamed, the shelves neatly lined with condiments. The fridges hummed in the corner. The sink overflowed with dirty dishes, but even that seemed staged, like it was pretending to be normal. I bent over, clutching my knees, gasping for air. When I looked up, the figure from the hallway was standing in the doorway, still, watching. And then, without moving its mouth, without even shifting, I heard it whisper, "Sam's not here." I froze. The figure stood in the kitchen doorway, too tall, its head brushing the frame. Its face was still hidden in shadow, though the bright white lights should have revealed it. And yet, it spoke without speaking. "Sam's not here." The words pressed into my skull, not my ears. I backed up slowly, my hand brushing against the cold stainless steel of the grill. My other hand reached for the drawer under the counter. Victor kept utensils there, maybe even a knife. The drawer slid open with a screech. Inside, no utensils, only scraps of paper crumpled and stained. I grabbed one without thinking, my eyes darting back to the figure. It hadn't moved. I glanced down at the paper. It wasn't a receipt. It wasn't even a notebook page. It was a newspaper clipping. Old, yellowing, dated almost 10 years ago. The headline made my stomach twist. "Arizona man on the run after killing his teenage daughter. Authorities say ritual elements suggest possible sacrifice." My throat went dry. The article was short, but the words burned into me. Neighbors reported strange chanting at night. The man claimed voices in the walls told him to do it. He vanished before police arrived, never found. At the bottom of the clipping, scrawled in shaky handwriting, were the words, "I'm sorry. Don't let them in. Don't listen to them." The paper slipped from my fingers. The figure tilted its head, unnaturally far, like its neck was rubber. The lights above flickered, and then it moved. Not walking, shifting. 1 second it was in the doorway. The next it was closer, only a few steps away. I yanked open the fridge beside me, grabbed the first thing I could, some heavy jar of mayonnaise, and hurled it. The jar smashed against the figure's chest, exploding into shards and white paste. But there was no reaction, no flinch, nothing. Instead, its shadow stretched across the tile, long and jagged, reaching for me. I bolted. I ran around the grill, heading for the other side of the kitchen, where a service door led to the alley. If I could get outside, just outside, maybe I could breathe again. The door wouldn't budge, locked from the outside. Shit, shit, shit! I rattled the handle. Behind me, the figure scraped forward, its shadow fingers clawing across the floor. In desperation, I grabbed a pan from the counter and swung it as hard as I could. The sound rang out like a gunshot. The figure staggered, just slightly, but enough for me to dash past it, back into the hallway. I didn't care where I was going anymore. I just needed to get away. The hallway seemed narrower now, pressing in on me. The shelves loomed, jars vibrating, bottles falling as I passed. The office door on my left had creaked back open. Inside, the TV flickered again. This time, it wasn't black. It showed the front of the shop, and me, standing inside it. Except it wasn't me now. It was me at the counter, smiling, serving a customer. The customer was the dirty woman from earlier, the one who bled on the glass. I stopped staring. My stomach twisted. The TV me looked up, right at me. And then it spoke, lips curling in that same cracked smile. "Good luck." The screen went black. I slammed the door shut, my hands trembling. I had to get upstairs, back to the shop, even if it meant running past the stairwell figure. But when I reached the bottom of the stairs, the landing was empty. Relief hit me, but only for a second. Because at the top of the stairs, the glass door was wide open. The night air drifted in. The street outside was silent. Too silent. I swallowed hard. And then I heard footsteps. Not from upstairs. Not from the basement. From inside the walls. Scraping. Dragging. Moving alongside me. Like something crawling. Trying to find a way out. The hairs on my arms stood straight. And then I remembered the note. Don't answer when they knock. As if on cue, the bathroom door behind me rattled. Bang! 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 Let me in! A voice gurgled. The doorknob twisted. Shook. I backed away slowly, my body shaking. My eyes darted to the office again, to the desk drawer. If the keys weren't there, maybe there was something else. Something that could explain this. Maybe even a way out. I pushed the door open and stepped back inside. The air was heavier now, like the whole room was pressing down on me. My hands shook as I yanked the drawer open again, rifling through receipts, papers, broken pens. That's when I saw it. Not keys, not a manual, a newspaper clipping. Old yellowing, the edges curled with age. The headline stopped me cold. Arizona man on the run after killing his teenage daughter. Authorities say ritual elements suggest possible sacrifice. My breath caught in my throat. The article described neighbors hearing strange voices in his home at night. Him rambling about, things knocking on the doors, waiting to be let in. The man had disappeared before police arrived, leaving only blood, strange symbols, and the girl's body. At the bottom of the clipping, scrawled in rushed, uneven handwriting, were the words, "I'm sorry. Don't let them in. Don't listen to them." A chill ran through me. My chest tightened like I was being crushed from the inside out. The light bulb in the corner buzzed angrily, then dimmed. And then the TV turned on. The screen filled with static before snapping into an image. The front of the shop. I saw myself standing behind the counter, smiling, calm, serving coffee to a customer. The customer was the woman from before, the dirty, bleeding one who'd banged her head against the glass. The me on the screen turned, looked directly into the camera. No, into me. And with a cracked smile, he mouthed the words. "Good luck." The TV popped off. The light in the corner went dark. The office was swallowed in black. I bolted, out into the hallway, my shoes splashing through a puddle I swear hadn't been there before. The stench of rot clung to the air, thick enough to make me gag. Somewhere down the hallway toward the kitchen, I heard footsteps. Slow, heavy, dragging. Not the woman. Not a shadow. Something else. I tightened my grip on the clipping, my other hand fumbling for anything I could use as a weapon. I didn't find one. The footsteps grew louder. I pressed myself against the shelves, heart slamming in my chest, trying not to breathe too loud. Then, from the darkness at the end of the hall, I saw it. A figure, human-shaped, moving steadily toward me. And this one didn't flicker like a ghost, didn't hum like static. This one was real. The figure moved with purpose, not jerky like the shadows, not distorted like the woman at the door. This one was solid, heavy, human. My first thought, someone broke in. But how? The doors were locked. I checked them a dozen times. The man stepped into the glow of the flickering hallway bulb. Tall, broad-shouldered, his head shaved bald, skin gleaming with sweat. He wore a dirty apron smeared with grease and dark stains I couldn't identify. His eyes. God, his eyes. Wide, pale, and glassy. Like Victor's, but worse. There was no life in them. Just that blank, feverish hunger. My stomach dropped. "Boss?" I whispered without thinking. He smiled. But it wasn't Victor's smile. "Sam's not here," he rasped, voice low and broken. I staggered back against the shelves, glass jars clattering to the floor. My heart pounded so hard it hurt. The man tilted his head, bones cracking. His hands twitched at his sides. I tried to speak, but nothing came out. Then, with a sudden burst of speed, he lunged. I darted sideways, crashing into the opposite shelf. Bottles toppled, one shattering at my feet. My shoes slipped in the mess as I bolted down the hall toward the kitchen. The lights above flickered violently. The man's footsteps thundered after me. I burst into the kitchen, the brightness almost blinding after the dim hallway. My eyes darted around. Grills, counters, sinks, shelves. No weapons, no exit. The service door was still locked tight. The footsteps grew closer. Panicked, I grabbed a chef's knife from the dirty dish pile and spun around just as the man stumbled through the doorway. Up close, he looked worse. His skin sagged, grayish in the harsh light. His apron dripped with something wet. His lips moved constantly, whispering words I couldn't make out. He saw the knife and stopped. His grin widened. "Good," he croaked. "That's good. You'll need it." I didn't wait. I swung. The blade sliced across his arm, but instead of blood, a thick black tar oozed out, hissing when it hit the tile. The man didn't flinch. He leaned closer, eyes bulging, voice splitting in two tones at once. "They let me in." My knees nearly buckled. The lights overhead blew out one by one, plunging the kitchen into a strobe of white and shadow. The man's face flickered in and out of view, closer every time the light flashed. I stumbled backward, knife shaking in my hand, until my back hit the fridge. The fridge door behind me vibrated. Something inside slammed against it from the other side. Bang! The man chuckled. "They're hungry." The fridge handle snapped, the door swinging open, and something crawled out. It spilled out onto the tiles in a wet heap, limbs folding wrong, joints bending backwards like a spider trying to crawl on broken legs. At first, I thought it was a child. Small body, thin arms. But when its head lifted, my stomach turned. Its face was blurred. Not in the way a dream face is forgotten. No, like someone had smeared wet paint across its features. Eyes too wide, sliding off the sides of its skull, mouth stretching long and jagged, opening and closing with a sick, sucking sound. It dragged itself toward me, leaving a streak of slime that hissed where it touched the floor. No. 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 I swung the knife at it wildly, but the thing was fast. Faster than it should have been. It latched onto my leg, claws. Yes, claws, black and hooked, sinking through denim and into flesh. Pain exploded up my thigh. I screamed and stabbed downward. The knife tore through its shoulder, black ichor spraying across my arm. The smell hit instantly, burnt copper and rot. The thing shrieked, a sound that rattled my teeth. Behind it, the man, the thing that looked like Victor, watched silently, head tilted as if studying me. His eyes glowed faintly in the dark, reflecting the dim light. I tore the creature off my leg and stumbled back, clutching the counter for balance. My vision blurred with tears from the pain. The thing on the floor convulsed, limbs snapping in and out of place. Then it scuttled backward, into the open fridge. The door slammed shut, as if yanked from the inside. Silence. Only my ragged breathing, the drip-drip of ichor on tile. When I looked up, Victor was gone. The kitchen lights flickered back on, steady now, almost too normal, like nothing had happened. But my leg burned, blood soaking through my jeans. I limped forward, knife still in hand, eyes darting everywhere. Every sound, every shadow pressed against me. I needed out. Keys. Keys. I shoved myself through the kitchen door back into the hallway toward the office. The door was still open. The desk still there. I collapsed into the chair, breathing hard, my bloody leg throbbing. And there, sitting neatly on the desk, the keys, not in the drawer where I'd searched before, just sitting on top like someone had placed them there for me. My hand hovered over them. But then I saw the paper, the old newspaper, the one I'd shoved aside. It had changed. The headline still read, "Arizona man on the run after killing his teenage daughter. Possible sacrifice." But now, scribbled across the photo in frantic handwriting, were new words. "Don't leave. They're waiting outside." My throat closed up. Behind me, the office door creaked. Slowly, I turned and saw a pale hand curling around the edge of the doorframe. I froze. My heart hammered so hard I was sure the walls themselves could hear it. The hand slowly crept further around the frame, pale, almost translucent, fingernails blackened and jagged. Then the arm followed, thin, gaunt, moving in a way no human joint should. I swallowed hard, knife trembling in my hand, and tried to inch back toward the desk, toward the keys. The figure stepped into the office. It wasn't the woman from outside, not entirely. Her face was twisted, stretched like wet clay, hair matted and soaked in something dark. Her eyes, black, bottomless pits. But at the same time, she looked familiar, almost human, almost like she remembered me. "Let me in," she whispered. Her voice gurgled, warped, echoing like it was bouncing off the walls of the basement. I lifted the knife, my arms shaking so violently I nearly dropped it. "Go away," I croaked. She tilted her head, slowly, mocking, then smiled, a grin that split her face far too wide. "Sam," she hissed. My stomach dropped. Sam? My mind raced. That was what the figure in the hallway had said, what the newspaper clipping hinted at, the name that shouldn't be said. I stumbled back, finally grabbing the keys off the desk. The figure's lips moved again. "Don't leave." I yanked the office door open and ran, keys in hand. The hallway stretched, impossibly long. The smell of rot hit me again. Footsteps echoed behind me, dragging closer, though I dared not look. I skidded around the corner toward the basement stairs, my leg burning from the earlier attack. When I reached the stairwell, I saw movement on the steps. Shadows, too many shadows. Figures climbing up, their faces twisted, mouths stretching in silent screams. I bolted past them, barely keeping my balance, reaching the top. The glass door to the outside, the door I'd locked myself in hours ago, was wide open. Streetlights spilled in, illuminating the empty road. For a second, I thought I was free. Then I heard it. A low, rasping laugh. From behind me. I spun around. The office door upstairs, the one that shouldn't have even been there in this layout, was open. Pale fingers curled over the frame. And now there were more hands, clawing through the windows, sliding across the brick pillars. The figures pressed their faces to the glass, the woman from before. Shadowy forms like the man in the basement. Something else, watching, waiting. I ran straight for the street, keys in hand, leaving the shop behind. The night air hit me, cold and sharp. I didn't stop running, not for a second, not even to look back. But as I ran, I swore I could hear it, the whispering. "Don't leave. Don't let them in." And then, in the distance, faintly glowing through the darkness, the shop windows lit up, white, bright. And I swear I saw them inside, staring back at me, smiling. I didn't stop running, not for a second. The street was empty. Normally, this area near the town center would be alive at night. Cars, people walking dogs, distant chatter. But tonight, silence. Dead silence. Even so, I couldn't shake the feeling I wasn't alone. The whispering followed me, soft at first, almost teasing. "Don't leave. Don't let them in." Faster now, louder, like it was inside my skull, not the air around me. I glanced back. The shop windows glowed bright white, like someone had turned all the lights on at once. And I swear, the shadows inside moved, writhing across the floor, climbing the walls. I tripped over the curb, scraping my hands on the asphalt. My keys flew from my pocket, clanging across the street. I scrambled after them, and froze. In the middle of the road, just inches from my face, the woman stood. Not running, not walking. She hovered, her black eyes locked on me. Hair plastered to her face with dark streaks, clothes torn and caked with dried blood. She smiled. I grabbed the keys and spun around. My apartment wasn't far. I had to get somewhere safe. But as I turned, the street behind me had changed. It wasn't my street anymore. The asphalt had cracked, concrete walls rising on either side like a narrow hallway. Shadows flickered along them. The glow from the shop's windows stretched impossibly long into the distance, distorted, like a reflection in water. I stumbled forward. The whispering grew louder. Not one voice, dozens, hundreds, overlapping, all saying the same thing. Don't let them in. Don't let them in. I reached the alley that should have led back to my apartment, but it was gone. Just a brick wall now, old and damp, glistening with condensation. I pounded on it, screamed. Nothing. Then I heard it. Footsteps behind me. Slow, deliberate, heavy, and something else. Wet, dragging noises. I risked a glance. The woman, the black-eyed girl, and dozens of shadowy figures crowded the narrow street, their bodies warped in impossible ways. Limbs too long, fingers curling backward, some crawling, some floating inches above the ground, their mouths twisted in permanent silent screams. I turned, desperate, and ran toward the shop. Yes, the shop. The front door had swung closed again behind me. Glass pristine, white brick pillars unchanged. But inside, the lights pulsed, flickered. The glow seemed to reach into the street, pulling me closer. I had no choice. I yanked the door open. The smell hit me immediately. Rot, grease, and that unnameable something from the basement. The interior looked normal at first. The counter, the chairs, the register. But then the shadows moved, slowly, deliberately, creeping along the walls toward me. I bolted down the stairs to the basement. The air was thick, heavy, choking, and the basement had changed. The hallway was longer, darker, the shelves more chaotic, bottles rattling and jars smashing themselves on the floor. The office light flickered violently. The bathroom door creaked open, then slammed. And the kitchen, bright, sterile, perfect, now glowed white in the center. But the shadows inside moved independently. The grills were warm to the touch, as if someone, or something, was cooking something unseen. I forced myself forward. I had to find a weapon. Something. Anything. That's when I saw it, on the floor in front of the office desk. Another clipping. This one newer. Blood-red ink smeared across the edges. I picked it up, my hands shaking. They're here. They wait. The sacrifice must never leave. A cold laugh echoed from behind the office door. I spun around. The woman, or what she had become, stepped out. Her body twisted, joints bending in ways that shouldn't exist. And this time, she wasn't alone. The basement flooded with them. Shadowy forms, crawling creatures, distorted versions of people who should have been dead, all converging. I realized with horror that the newspaper clipping wasn't just history. It was a warning, and whatever had happened in Arizona, it had come here. To me. I gripped the knife tighter, ready to fight, ready to survive. And then a whisper, soft, almost human, right in my ear. Don't let them in. I pressed myself against the office wall, knife clutched tight, breathing ragged. The whispers pressed against me, almost deafening now. Don't let them in. Don't let them in. My eyes darted around the basement. The hallway seemed longer than before. Shelves had multiplied. The kitchen glowed brighter, too bright, almost burning my vision. The office light flickered violently, then went out, leaving me in a gray, suffocating darkness. Then the first shadow darted across the hall. I bolted. The creatures followed. Human-shaped but wrong, limbs too long, joints twisting the wrong way. Some crawled on the floor, others floated inches above it. Their eyes were black pits. Their mouths opened impossibly wide, emitting wet, echoing screams. I stumbled into the kitchen. The floor was wet. The sink was overflowing, though I had no idea with what. Dirty dishes floated slightly above the water. On the counters, ingredients rearranged themselves, as if someone or something was cooking without touching them. The black-eyed woman appeared at the other end of the kitchen, her head bent unnaturally, hair plastered and dripping. She grinned at me. I backed into the corner, knife ready. Then I saw it. The fridge door across the room slowly creaked open. Inside, writhing shadows, small, twisted figures, like miniature versions of the woman. Their screaming filled my head, overlapping, almost deafening. I realized with horror I couldn't fight them all, but I had to try. I grabbed a pan from the counter, swinging it at the nearest figure. The thing screeched, dissolving into black mist. Others lunged. I slashed, smashed, stumbled, kicked, every move buying me a second, a heartbeat, a chance to survive. The shadows closed in, whispering relentlessly. Don't let them in. Don't let them in. Then, out of the corner of my eye, I noticed the office desk, where the newspaper clipping had fallen earlier. Something flickered on it. I ran, dodging a clawed figure. I grabbed the clipping. It had changed. The words had rewritten themselves. The door must remain closed. He will return if you let them in. The door, I whispered. I turned to the sliding basement door, the one leading down from the guest toilet area to the basement kitchen. The same door Victor had told me about, the one I'd ignored before. The shadows recoiled as if afraid. I shoved it closed with everything I had. It wouldn't lock. It rattled violently as though something on the other side was trying to push through. Then the whispering ceased. Silence. For a moment, I thought I had survived. Then I felt it. The presence. Behind me. Victor. Or something wearing him. His bald head, beer belly, and creepy eyes appeared at the kitchen entrance. But his form flickered like smoke. Twisting. Distorting. They can't get out. Not yet, he said, voice layered, half human, half something else. I realized. The shop, the basement, the shadows. They weren't just haunting this place. They were the place. The building itself had become a doorway, a trap. And now I was part of it. I ran again, charging the kitchen, grabbing the first exit I could reach. The front door. I burst into the night. Air hit me like a wall. The street was normal, or at least it looked normal. I didn't stop running. Not for blocks, not until my lungs burned and my legs screamed in pain. When I finally dared to look back, the shop was gone. Or maybe it had never been there at all. The next morning, the news mentioned nothing about a coffee shop in the center of town. Nothing about disturbances, blood, or strange lights. But in my pocket still was the newspaper clipping. Yellowed edges, but now completely blank. I knew the whispers would return, and I knew they were still waiting. I thought I was safe. I thought leaving the shop behind meant leaving it all behind. But as I stumbled down the empty street, the cold night air didn't bring relief. It pressed against my skin like hands. I reached my apartment building, panting, limping. I locked the door behind me and leaned against it, trying to catch my breath. My leg throbbed, my arms were scraped, and my mind raced 1,000 miles per second. Then I noticed it. A shadow in the corner of the room. Small at first, flickering. I froze. It moved closer, not human, not fully. But it had the same black eyes, the same twisted grin as the woman from the shop. I tried to scream, but no sound came. I grabbed a chair, raised it like a weapon. The shadow paused. Then, slowly, it sank into the floor like smoke, vanishing, but leaving behind a wet, cold patch. My phone vibrated. A notification. A DoorDash delivery request. From the shop. The name flashed on the screen. Sam. I dropped the phone. My hand shook so badly it clattered to the floor. The whispers returned, soft, almost teasing. Don't leave. Don't let them in. I backed away from the screen, sliding toward the corner. My eyes kept darting to every shadow, every dark corner. And somewhere, deep in my chest, I knew the truth. It wasn't over. It would never be over. That's it. This is the end of the story. I hope you enjoyed. If you did PLS, like and subscribe. Also comment what would you do in this situation. That's it. This was Nightmare Vault. Goodbye and have a scary night.